In this next segment, you will hear Konnan and myself discussing a clip Konnan had recently seen of Ole Anderson and Dave Meltzer getting into a brief argument, which leads to me playing a clip for Konnan of Ole lambasting Rob Feinstein from RF Video, and that leads into a discussion of the old school of wrestling and how hard it was to break into the business.
Yeah, what did you think about the Ole Anderson, Dave Meltzer clip?
When did you basically...
You should have been a booker.
What?
You should have been a booker.
Okay, all right.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know everything about it.
Never...
You should have been very successful.
Not in this era.
Well, you're the most knowledgeable person I've talked to, almost in my life. Next time Vern calls me, I'm going to tell him to go shut up. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I'm going to talk to Dave Meltzer.
All right.
What do you call a successful wrestler? That's the better answer. That's a better question. What do you consider a successful wrestler?
I guess someone who gets himself over to the public for years and years and years. And
no, it's a really easy answer. Even you should be able to come up with it.
Okay.
Did I say that I wanted to be in it in the book?
No, but you devoted a chapter in the book to it, so obviously it hit you and it hit a nerve.
Chapter, Dave.
What?
How many pages is the chapter?
4 or 5 pages.
Oh, that's a lot, isn't it?
Well, it's in there.
Good God. Listen, you know, it's just impossible to talk to you.
Okay.
You're like an awful lot of people that I've known in my lifetime, and I guess I must be like some people you've known.
Yeah.
I did it, and you wish you could. Have you got it yet?
What?
Specifically.
Have I got what?
Not you. I don't care about you.
Unfortunately, the wrestling salaries, like all sports salaries, escalated. And there's a reason they escalated in wrestling because of competition. And
no, they didn't escalate because of competition.
Yeah, they did. If you didn't...
Were you in the business, or are you just talking about it like you think you know something?
Well,
like my book or don't like my book, probably a good idea for some of your people to read it. Maybe somebody will get something out of it.
Oh, I think everyone will get something out of it.
You didn't.
Yeah, I got your perspective on things.
No, you didn't. It's Dave Meltzer on Dave Meltzer.
Okay, all right.
You're almost as bad as me, except I was worth something.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, come on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Ric Flair is wonderful.
I didn't say that, but Ric Flair...
56, and Hulk Hogan can't draw a dime, and Ric Flair can't either, but they're still working. That's good.
Yeah, but they had tremendous careers.
Yes, sure they did. Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
And Randy Savage had a tremendous career.
Ric Flair, the world champion.
What? Randy Savage had a tremendous career, too.
Oh, yeah. He's wonderful.
Well, I'm just making a point. You know, I
mean, you aren't making a point.
I don't begrudge that a lot of people were able to earn a lot of money in wrestling. I mean, there are times I wish that wrestling hadn't changed, but it did. But that doesn't mean that the guys who, you know, were the top stars of today are not super talented performers at what they do.
Is it possible for you not to be speaking for just a second?
Go ahead.
Your opinion is different than what you put across as fact. When you say that Randy, whatever the heck you think he is, that's your opinion.
I know, I'm saying he was successful. I didn't even say he was a great worker, although at times he was.
I don't care about a great worker.
Okay.
Tex McKenzie wasn't a great worker either.
Okay, true.
But
he definitely wasn't.
With him.
Okay.
All right. Dusty Rhodes wasn't a great worker, but we drew money with him.
That's right. And Hulk Hogan wasn't a great worker, and Vince McMahon drew money with him.
The match that you see Ric Flair have today is the one that you saw him have 10 years ago, which is the match you'll have him see tomorrow.
Yeah?
He's got one match, and that's it.
But
that's why, in my opinion, there's an awful lot to be desired. If he's still able to go out there and wrestle and draw money, then fine. That's all that counts. Being a good worker, that's your...
Okay. You're gone.
The thing was, I'd heard it and I re-listened to it and I read his book, so I knew how pissed he was that that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. But he always says like, "Oh, it doesn't matter anyway." But then he's really like pissed off. Like, of course I stayed in one area. There was more money there. It doesn't matter if I worked this territory, that territory. I drew money here, and you know, Dave has his own requirements and stuff like that for the Hall of Fame. So he wasn't. You know what I mean? It was just two completely different viewpoints on the subject.
So because that was the third part of a 3-parter.
Mm-hmm. It was
actually all 3 parts are good.
I'll send you one too, where Ole was doing a shoot interview with RF Video, and he goes off on Feinstein too. Man, just very, very angry. You know, good stuff.
That's awesome.
What are your thoughts on when Ric Flair left with the title?
What now?
When Ric Flair left the company with the title and went to Vince?
Well, see, the problem right now with that is this: who gave a shit? Who was in the NWA? Who was in the NWA at that time? What year are you talking about?
This might have been 91, I think.
Good. Who was in the NWA at that time?
Worker-wise?
Promoter-wise. Do you have any idea what you're talking about?
Yeah, Dusty and all. No.
Piss on Dusty. What promoters do you know that were in the NWA in 1991 or 1990 or 1989? Who do you know was in the NWA at that time?
Ted Turner owned it. Go ahead.
Do you think there was a promoter out in Los Angeles? Do you think there was a promoter in San Francisco?
Right.
Do you huh?
No, it was one guy.
Quit being so damn dumb.
Go ahead.
Do you think there were any promoters in 1950, or do you think there was just one promoter?
No, there was a lot of different territories.
Good!
Right.
So, how many territories were there in 1989 or 1990?
There was only two, probably, major ones, but then there was the little minor ones.
There's no such thing as a minor one.
Well, you know what I mean. It was
no, you don't know what I mean.
The two national ones.
They used to have meetings every damn year out in Las Vegas, NWA meetings.
Right.
There hasn't been any meetings since 1984, I think. Why? Because there is no NWA anymore.
Right.
Well, right, then what the hell are you talking about? So Ric Flair was a champion of what?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. He couldn't go to Don Owen up in the Oregon because Don Owen wasn't in business anymore. He couldn't go to Roy Shires out in San Francisco because Roy Shires wasn't in business anymore. He couldn't come to Ole Anderson and Jim Barnett in Atlanta because they weren't in business anymore. He couldn't come to the damn, what's his name? Name anybody you want to name. Name anybody in the whole damn world. He couldn't even go to Vern Gagne because Vern Gagne was out of business.
Right.
He couldn't go to Eddie Graham because he was out of business. So where was Ric Flair going to go?
Vince, that was it.
There was nowhere to go.
Right.
So what did he walk away with? He walked away with something that nobody gave a shit about anyhow. So who got hurt? And see, he always talks about how great a champion he was. Champion of what?
But see, he's the type of guy that's, literally is from a different era. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I had
culturally and wrestling.
I had Al Snow on Creative Control once, and if you've never, that's another thing. If you've never heard of Al Snow's
It's Husey. Hello.
Snow's story about when he first tried to break in, he went to an Anderson's tryout camp with Ole and Gene, and that was at that time when they would try to beat you out. You know what I mean? They didn't want people to come in, so they would take your money and try to stretch you. And and Al and Gene really got into the ring where he tried to get at Al's eyes and things like that. And actually, Ole, I think, was the voice of reason and broke them up. But yeah, that was He took a long bus ride there and all that overnight to think he was getting in, and then he got into that.
I came from that same era. So did Rey Mysterio. So we still came from that era. Now, a lot of the new guys may not know this, or if they do, just imagine. You go into the train, you don't know how to wrestle, and the first day they're body slamming you. The first day, body slamming you, having you run the ropes, they're stretching you, and they're getting into shoot fights with you to see how tough you are because they don't want no pussies in wrestling.
Yeah. And if you don't have any amateur experience, you're especially screwed because, these guys back then, they would be serious amateur wrestlers. So they could stretch you if they wanted to, especially if you were inexperienced.
Right. Plus, all of them were legit badasses because they had to go through badasses to get into the business, and you got to be a badass. And badasses respect each other. Like, all right, I know you're down. I know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but they were badasses. They'd go out at night, get into fights in bars when the shit didn't come out in the newspaper. You were a wrestler. They take care of it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they were really wild back then. And
you think about because Ole's a guy that came from Minnesota, and you think about. The stories from training under Vern Gagne and how hard he put, all the stuff he put guys through even before they stepped into the ring, all the crazy calisthenics and having to wrestle. Vern's going to stretch you, all that stuff.
Stu Hart put you through the because that's how it was back then.